Hi, everyone. You are listening to the Midwest Medium Podcast. I am your host, June Hessler. Thank you for joining me and welcome back. If you are watching this on YouTube, you see this door next to me that's cracked. If you see it open, it's not a ghost. It is our cat Eugene, who, by the way, was named after the Eugene character in The Walking Dead. Um, so don't let that freak you out if that happens. So, you guys, I have a few things I want to share with you that I have coming up, and then I want to talk about kindness, which is a really big topic in my view, but I do want to touch on it. First, though, a few things I have coming up is Thursday, May 2nd. I'm offering a virtual group reading via Zoom. It starts at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Half of my profits will go to UNICEF in support of those who are suffering in Gaza. The cost is $30. And if you'd like to sign up, email info@junehessler.com. Saturday, June 8th, Angels Among Us Foundation is having a walk for peace in Mounds View, Minnesota. I will be there. It starts at 9 a.m. The registration cost is $25. This is a fundraiser also to help those who are suffering in Gaza. So I hope to see you there. You can find more information and register at angelsamongus.foundation.org. They are a wonderful organization working to lessen the suffering of animals and humans here on Earth, and I very much support them. I have for a while now, so I really encourage you to check them out. Saturday, June 15th, you guys, Holly Rosa and I are at it again. We're doing another massage and mediumship event in Coon Rapids. That's in Minnesota. I think it starts at 10 a.m. Pretty sure whatever time it says on my website, junehessler.com, is the time that it starts. I think it says 10 a.m. The cost is $60, and half of my profits will go to charity. Again, it will go to support those who are suffering in Gaza, who very much need more humanitarian aid. And so I'm trying to do what I can do to help raise the awareness, remind people that this is still happening, the atrocities, the genocide, it's awful. Um, so if you want to sign up for the massage and mediumship, email Holly. I don't have her email with me right now, but I know it's posted on my website. So email her and sign up. We do limit space for that. We limit it to 10 participants and it always sells out. So if you are hearing this and this is of interest to you, make sure you contact Holly right away to get signed up. A few things that I offer that I want to talk about quickly. I have, different services that I offer. I offer intuitive guidance readings and mediumship readings. They can be 30 minutes, they can be 60 minutes. They're private. And it's where mediumship obviously is hearing from people on the other side that have passed. Intuitive guidance is more geared towards connecting with your spirit guides and your guardian angels to get guidance and wisdom from them to help you in your life's journey. Often I've learned that when people do a 60-minute reading, you get a little bit of both, mediumship and the intuitive guidance. So those are services that I offer. I also offer group mediumship readings. Again, really, I call it mediumship readings, but really it's a combination of the intuitive guidance and the mediumship. So if you ever want to get together with your family and friends, it's a great opportunity to hear all of these loving messages from your loved ones on the other side, including your guides and angels. And it's an interesting way to kind of shake things up if you have a bridal shower coming up or a bachelorette party before everyone starts drinking. Because I do want people sober for these events. It's just an interesting way to just kind of get people together and do something different, do something fun. Maybe you have a family reunion coming up. So I do offer that. And I also offer animal communication, which can be communicating with your animals that have passed. So really, I suppose that would be animal mediumship, but I just call it animal communication, or communicating with your pets that are living and maybe maybe you have a pet that's acting different and you're not quite sure what's going on and you want some uh you want to, learn the truth about what's happening, or maybe your pet went to the vet and your vet told you something and you're just looking for some validation because maybe you have a decision to make. So, animal communication is really cool. Um, it can be really beautiful. It's really interesting how it works. So I always enjoy doing that for people. I also offer mentorship. So if you are someone who is experiencing psychic phenomena, maybe you are being waken up in the middle of the night and there's spirits around your bed. Maybe you are, I don't know, seeing spirits during the day and you're not sure what to make of it. There's a lot of things that can happen under the umbrella of psychic phenomena. So if that is something that you are experiencing, I can help guide you through those experiences, help you learn how to protect yourself, help you learn how to close down and open up. There are different techniques to be used to keep yourself well protected psychically, spiritually, energetically. Um, so I can help guide you through those circumstances if it is happening. I've been experiencing psychic phenomena since I was 4. So I know that there's a lot of different things that can happen, and it can be scary, it can be overwhelming, it can be taxing on the system. So if it's happening to you, don't ignore it. You want to make sure that you're protected. I also offer laying on of hands healing, which I do remotely, which I know can sound kind of funny, thinking that you're doing laying on hands healing over the computer, but I can tell you from experience, I've received it myself remotely and I've given it to others remotely and I've gotten really great feedback. So that is something that I do offer at no charge. And it is something that I learned from Echo Bodine, who is a highly gifted spiritual hands-on healer. So I consider it learning from the best of the best. And she did teach me how to do it. So anyway, you can find more information at junehessler.com if any of those interest you. I also want to give a shout out to On Our Best Behavior podcast. I was on not too long ago as a guest, and I had a great conversation with Kelly. I'll make sure to put a link to our conversation in the show notes. Again, it's called On Our Best Behavior, and she does it with her son, and they're really cute, and I really enjoy listening to them. And I love how her podcast has a variety of topics. Um, I think I'm the only psychic medium that she's had on so far, but she has so many other guests and topics. So really it's kind of like a hodgepodge of conversation. I really enjoy her podcast because every week is different. So I really like that. So wanted to make sure to tell you all of those things. Okay, kindness. Now, I've been reflecting on this lately because tomorrow is the 6th anniversary of losing my son Jack to stillbirth. And gosh, I can't believe it's been 6 years. It's gone by so fast. We lost him in April of 2018. And so, reflecting on how life has changed for me, for my husband, for my daughter ever since. Um, it's been an interesting 6 years. And it really got me to thinking about the phrase that we all hear all the time: be kind to others, you never know what they're going through. And I never truly understood how powerful that sentiment is until my son died and my heart was shattered into a million pieces on the floor. But yet I still had to somehow get through each day. And it was a time where it wasn't even day by day or hour by hour. It was minute by minute. I didn't know how I would get from 8 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock in the morning. And I'm not exaggerating. That's how painful and how devastated I was in those days 6 years ago. So upon all of this reflection and looking at things 6 years later, I've noticed there's definitely been a shift in who I am as a person, even before mediumship came along. I've learned truly what it means to be kind to others because you never know what they're going through. And I think it's an important phrase for us to remind ourselves about, especially in difficult circumstances. So I remember 6 years ago when I came home from the hospital without our baby. And I, gosh, it was like, I kind of felt like a zombie, to be honest with you. I mean, you don't know unless you've been in that situation. You don't know how weird it is when the world moves on. Everyone else goes to work, goes about their day, does their grocery shopping, goes to events. The world moves on and you're standing still, frozen, and everything's moving around you. It is an odd sensation. And for me, it lasted a while. During that time, I know I was difficult to people who I didn't know. So an example would be like if I'm driving and I'm stopped at a red light and the person in front of me doesn't go quickly enough when the light turns green, I'm sure I honked my horn and like got irritated because I was hurting so bad from having lost my son. I was bad to other people and just like circumstances like that. Because I was hurting so bad, it meant a lot when people were kind to me, probably even when I didn't deserve it. People who didn't know my circumstance, didn't know what I was going through. They just thought I was a B word and a self-entitled B word, you know, but I was hurting. And so I also learned, on the flip side, having lost our son has made me a kinder person to others. It has softened my heart when it should have made my heart harder. It should have made me colder. It should have made me more angry. It should have made me a nastier person, but it did the opposite. It made me softer, kinder, more humbled, and it made me appreciate the value of life and how much life truly is a miracle. And so I've just, like I said, reflecting all these years later, it's interesting how at that time, what happened in my life and the changes in me is so much more than losing my son to stillbirth. It's all these other things that happened as a result, including being catapulted into mediumship. So it's unless you've been in that situation where you've lost your child in that way, I can't relate to people who I mean, I guess I kind of can, but people who maybe lose their 20-year-old child in a car accident, I don't have that experience, thank God. I hope to never have that experience. So I can't relate on that level, but I can definitely relate on the level where if you're listening to this and you've lost a child to miscarriage or stillbirth, please know that my heart is with you because I've had both of those experiences and I know how devastating it is. And I also know how life-changing it can be. So everyone's story is different. Obviously, I've been open about sharing mine. And part of the reason why I'm so open about sharing how my son Jack brought me into mediumship is because it's in a way for me, it is a way to remember him and it is a way to know that his death is not in vain. And it is a way for me to share how important he is, even still, So, it's a little bit complicated. It's been 6 years. I'm still figuring things out. I don't know that I'll have all the answers. It's still something that I grieve. I still grieve my son. I don't think that will ever change. You know, people had made comments to me, especially early on. I think, really the first year that he was gone, the first year for me was the hardest. It was, all the first things, the first Christmas, the first New Year's, what would have been his first birthday. The first year was the hardest. And people would say to me, "Oh, you'll get over it. You'll move on." And I've learned that doesn't happen. You don't get over it. You do not move on. So please don't say that to people. I know you're trying to comfort them during a very difficult time, but those words are like daggers to the heart. Don't tell them they will get over it. Don't tell them that they'll move on because they won't. It's not possible. I think from the outside perspective, it seems like that's what's happening, but it's not. They've learned to live in a different way. They've learned to live with this hole in their heart. They've learned to live with the empty spot at the dinner table. It's not moving on. It's not getting over it. It's learning to live in a different way. And if that doesn't make sense to you, then you probably haven't been through it. And that's great. I don't want people to go through this. It's awful. So you're very lucky. Um, so I just have to caution people, don't say that. Because you don't get over it, you don't move on, you just learn how to live in a different way is truly what it is. So to me, it all comes back to kindness, being kind to others. When I first opened up about mediumship and coming out of, I guess you could call the psychic closet, I was very nervous, you guys. I was nervous on how people would treat me. Would people accept me? Would people think I'm weird? Would my daughter's friends' parents think that my kid's weird? Would they take their kids away from my daughter so my daughter didn't have any friends? I mean, there's a lot of things that went through my mind that I worried about. But it didn't hold me back, obviously, because here I am. And but there's definitely fear that comes with revealing this side of myself. And most people have been so kind and welcoming and interested and ask really great questions and want to learn more. Some people are on the fence and still are really nice to me and treat me well, but they don't want anything to do with the mediumship side of things, and that's cool too. I mean, I have to respect it. That's totally fine. I don't judge people for that. And then there's some people, unfortunately, who have been really nasty and rude and hateful. And I think that is really unfortunate. So I've learned when that happens, fortunately, it's not a lot, but it's happened. I've learned to separate myself from that situation and to not get caught into the drama of it all because I want to create good karma for myself. I'm not interested in the drama. I'm not interested in getting caught up in whatever negative words are being thrown at me. I remove myself from the situation, and hopefully at some point there'll be some sort of reconciliation if that is what is meant to be. Um, so it's kind of like, well, why be so rude about something? I don't understand it. I know that we all have bad days. I know that we all have bad moments where we wish we would have handled the situation better, or we wish we wouldn't have gotten so irritated being stuck in traffic, just as an example. We all have those sorts of regrets, and that is part of what makes us human, and that is how we learn, oh crap, I really don't like how I handled this situation. I need to do better next time. I want to do better next time. That's I get it. We're here to learn. We're learning things. But some people feel very entitled and are very rude and disrespectful and mean. I mean, they're just flat out mean. And I'm thinking to myself, what's the point in that? Why would you put so much energy into being so hateful towards somebody else. And the only answer to me that makes sense is it's got to be Satan. When someone like me is working so hard to get closer to God and to build a relationship with God and with Jesus, which I've been very open about on this podcast and in my blog and my social media and my website, been very open about that. And, recently becoming Catholic, becoming baptized, confirmed Catholic, and if someone's going to be so hateful about that, the only thing that makes sense to me is they're being influenced by Satan. And so I take myself away from the situation and I don't engage. So, all of this, in my view, falls under the umbrella of kindness. And kindness, I believe, really goes a long way. Am I kind 100% of the time? No, I'm not perfect. I'm not a saint. I'm working towards perfection. I am working towards attaining a spot in heaven full time so I never have to come back to this planet. Those are things I'm working on, but I know that I'm not perfect. But I'm working on the kindness thing, and like I said, when losing Jack, it softened me in a way that really shouldn't have happened. I think it's remarkable really how a person can go through such a tragic experience in life and come out the other side um, in some ways a better person. So I think that's important. I think if that resonates with you and if that's something that you can say, yeah, that's me. I went through this awful thing, and because of that experience, I'm somehow a better person in certain ways. I think that's to be celebrated. I think there's so much in this life that can break our spirit and tear us down. And so it's really important, I think, to focus on the positive side. I mean, you guys know that's how this podcast was created, because I was so tired of the negative stuff with paranormal and supernatural that this podcast focuses on the positive side of those things in addition to wanting to normalize mediumship. So I want you to know that if you're someone who's experiencing being treated poorly, people being unkind to you for whatever reason, I want you to know that you don't have to engage. You can separate yourself from the situation and not get caught into all of the drama. And when you do that, it can help you create good karma for yourself. And you can pray for them. I mean, it's kind of like, what do you do when these situations happen? There's really nothing you can do, I think, other than pray for them. Pray that they see how hurtful their actions and their words have been towards others, and pray that they stop doing it. And that at some point there'll be reconciliation. I think that's important too. So, I'm kind of rambling here, but you guys, kindness is very important. It goes a long way, even if it's to a total stranger and you're just helping an old lady bring her groceries from her car to her house, that kind of thing. Chivalry is lost, I think, in our society, and we need to be nicer to each other. I'm worried for the direction the world is taking and how much negative stuff is out there with war and political corruption. And, the average person, we're the ones that get hurt because of all those things. And it's important to be kind to people. And I think I already said this, but I'm going to say it again. If you are someone who lost your baby to miscarriage or stillbirth, please know my heart is with you. I know how difficult that is. And I also know that our babies go to heaven. I've seen it. I've read for people who have been through these difficult circumstances. And I know that the babies are okay and they do go to heaven and they are with Jesus and with God. So I hope that brings you some peace. It brings me peace with my son. And you guys, be nice out there, be good, do good things, create good karma for yourself, choose your words and your actions wisely. Next time I'm on, I will be with Terry. Terry was my sponsor through the OCIA program. Um, I'm so grateful that I met her. She's coming on. We're recording next week. She's coming on to discuss her experience as the sponsor. I'll be discussing my experience as the student, and I'm really excited to share her with you. She's such a sweet lady, and I can't wait to just even have the conversation with her, but also to share it with you. It was such a positive experience. If you're someone that's thinking of going through the OCIA program at your Catholic church, I highly recommend it. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. If it was 10 stars, I would give 10 stars. In my head, it's 5 out of 5 stars. And I had such a great time and it was such a blessing. So if you're thinking of doing it, I really encourage you to do it. All right, you guys. I think that is all that I have for today. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Midwest Medium Podcast. Make sure you check out my interview with Kelly on our Best Behavior podcast, and I will put that in the show notes. And if you're listening to this, pop over to YouTube at June Hessler and subscribe to my YouTube page. There's not a lot happening there now, but I am posting the videos to my podcast episodes to that now, so you can watch if you prefer to watch. And either way, thank you for listening. Have a great weekend, guys.